Welcome back to another Plasticon review. Today we're going to look at what's called Speed Robot. This is a knockoff from Big Lots many moons ago. I'm going to give you guys a look at the box here. The box labels this in here as Speed 1. Which, if you look at the art here, he doesn't look as green as he does gold. It's kind of funny. He's supposed to come with a huge sword. My buddy had sent me this, and this actually does not have the sword. The sword apparently lights up. I don't care if I have the sword or not, because to be honest, it's still kind of a funny looking thing. And then you got this in here, which is called Speed 2. I don't know about you guys, but I'm getting a very late 60s, early 70s Hot Wheel vibe from these. Like, it really does look like a Hot Wheel in a lot of ways. And by the way, oh, not the three sad onions. It's distributed by Big Lots back in the day. And Everman Int Ltd, I guess. I don't really know what the actual make is on this thing. It doesn't really show. All it shows is speed action play weapons. And inside the box, it's just got a picture of the car on fire, which is funny. Considering, it's a crazy knockoff, and then it's got, that same box art that was on the back. The box isn't in the best condition, but hey, that's okay. But it's a speed robot, so let's look at it. Here's the Speed Robot in his alt mode. I wanted to start out in alt mode because this thing was not the easiest thing in the world to put together. It's very bargain transformer awesomeness. And honestly, I like this thing. I don't know what it is. I just like this thing. This thing is amazing, actually. The plastic quality is that harder, sharper plastic that you would get that would really scare you because you're afraid it's going to break or explode. It does happen to have some stickers here which aren't in the best condition. They just tend to kind of fall off. I haven't gotten around to trying to pull these off and redo them. I don't know if I'll be able to without them literally disintegrating. It's got this interesting star thing on the side. It would have been cool to see some black windows planted right here. This would have probably been the only thing that literally kind of makes this not the greatest. It does happen to have paint all through here. And these are actually tampoed on, these strange flames, which are cool. It would have been neat to see this same flame thing go on here instead of these stickers. I prefer this. This would have been neater. This is all tampoed on too, by the way. I mean, this thing's actually got some pretty decent tampoing. I mean, if you look at it, it does look like a really strange Hot Wheel from back in the day. It doesn't happen to have any taillights painted, but they are molded there. Very softly molded, but they are there. It's an interesting looking car. Underside's not that bad either, actually. It doesn't have a whole lot of robot kill other than just the two fists. It does happen to have this back plate here all nice and painted. I mean, it's not bad. It rolls okay. It's loud when it rolls. Everything else is going on plastic. But it's got some pretty good grip in it. The wheels are not pegged in the best, I guess, but hey, that's no fault of the toy itself. Just if they would have pushed the pins in probably a little bit more, it would have been a little less wobbly. But yeah, that's fine. I mean, it's cool. It's a knockoff. What do you expect? You get this with a couple weapons, and like I said, not terrible. This thing does have an interesting transformation. It does have a bit of parts forming. Yeah, I know people don't like parts forming. This is the kind of parts forming that I kind of don't like myself. when I look at stuff at like Omega Supreme, that's a different situation. It's literally something literally changing the shape of a huge base into a huge robot. This is a car turning into a robot. It shouldn't require a bunch of parts for them, but it does. But it's kind of funny because it also kind of reminds me a little bit of that whole Robots in Disguise from 2000s vibe. I just have to admit, like, I do like the paint work. If this thing didn't have stickers, this would actually be a pretty decent thing. This thing doesn't... It's not as unweighty as some of the ones I've had in the past. It's actually got a little weight to it, which is nice. But, I mean, it's solid. It's not gonna explode in my hand, which... Transformation, let's get into that. And transforming this thing is pretty simple. First thing you'll do, when it comes to parts forming, you pop the back bumper off. This back bumper actually sits in with these two little pegs here. You plug into these. Which there's a way for me able to figure out how to make this not parts form, I would. Because it's kind of a cool... It's really actually neat. Does have a little bit more parts forming here, where you'll unpeg the rear of the car, which is kind of scary. I don't know if I'll need a spudger or something to shove in here because I don't want to break any tabs, but it's not that bad of quality. I can tell you that right now. I've had some really bad ones in my past, but you know, there we go. You got the rear of it off, and now you got a robot looking at you. It's kind of funny. Anyway, the doors actually unpeg a little bit, and they peg in really well, or they just pop off just like they did. But they actually do peg in. There's actually a hole there for it to actually peg in, which is nice. So to be honest, I don't even really think it needed this long of a pin. That pin could have been a lot more less. Which, I mean, this thing holds together well. I mean, you can play with this thing as a car pretty well. Getting this thing apart, though, is not the easiest thing. It's like I said, I think it's because that pin is just a little too long. If those were a little more shallow, it probably wouldn't be so difficult to pop those. Because, I mean, you can actually use it as a play feature. Like, you could actually use those as doors, which is nice. I don't mind cars that have doors. Oh, before we get too far, you can flip this up and you can act like he's a combiner limb. Because, I mean, he does have a foot. Anyway, I had to show you that real quick before I went too far. I think it's kind of funny. I don't know, I'm into crazy knockoffs, so... wiggle this thing back and forth a little bit. Here we go. Cool. Now I got it loose. And just kind of push those down to get those out of the way. And right here is where you can see the knockoff Everman Shono... No, it doesn't even say Shonokan. It says Hong Kong. I don't know. You guys can probably read that better than I can. There you go. It's weird. That's where the stamping is on it. Like it needed stamping. But, you know. Next thing you'll do is you'll pull these down. These are actually on ball joints. So. And then flip the fist out, which is also on a ball joint. Same thing here. It's down. Ball joints. The only thing that's not a ball joint is right here. So you have to kind of watch that. And then you'll take the feet portion, pull it all out. Because it literally unfurls the rest of the robot. And then you'll flip these down and then you can split the legs. And these are actually on a ball joint, which is nice. And then you got these door flaps here that I don't really know what he's supposed to do with, because, I mean, they'll just set to the side, I guess. He does happen to have some kind of slight articulation here in his legs. Pull those down all the way. But there we go. And there you go. You got this weirdo in his his robot mode, which is kind of funny. Now here on the back, you can take this part here. It's actually got a pin. You can put that here in the back just like that, so that way you can get this kind of out of the way. And you can actually hang on to the back of the car like that. And then this part here actually has a post, which you can post in his hand, and he's got a shield. It's kind of nice. I mean, it's got a place for everything, so you don't actually have to worry about parts laying around all over the place. Because I've had some in the past that you literally just set the parts aside, you can't even pick them onto the toy. I really do like weird knockoffs. This guy, he's a strange one. I never had one like this. He does happen to have a little bit of head articulation here. Can move his head back around. He does happen to, like I said, have arm joints here, which are on ball joints. So, I mean, you can pose them. Doesn't have a whole lot of posability, but he does have some. And, you know, you can still do like the hand on the hip kind of thing, which is cool. And his legs move up this far. They don't actually bend at the knee. It's mainly because this is just a slide. So it would have been cool to see a little bit of a bend there at the knee, but I don't know how well you'd be able to pose him considering this is his heel and foot. So he's kind of cool. I like him. I think he's awfully strange. He's kind of a knockoff Sunstreaker-y type of thing. I really don't know exactly what to call him because, you know, he's lime colored, which I kind of wished he was gold, but that's okay. I mean, photography isn't always the best on some of these knockoffs, but kind of a size comparison. Here he is next to a Hot Wheel standing up on its end. And let's put him next to Scarlet, which I happen to have right here. He's a pretty tall guy. I'd say he's about a deluxe sized Transformer nowadays. And he's pretty neat. I do like him a lot. I'm not against these. I love knockoffs. And this guy's a strange one. I haven't ever had one like this before. I do like his head sculpt though. It's very Sideswiper Sunstreaker looking. He doesn't happen to have a mouth, but that's okay, because I mean, not every robot has to have that. But he's a strange one. I do like him because of that. Anyway, this has been Plasticon. This has been yet another crazy review of whatever the heck that is. I'll see you guys around as I have plenty more coming your way. That's it for now. Bye!